morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio, and today, well, I'm here to right a wrong, ladies and gentlemen. You see, recently, I have taken, when a new set comes out, to looking at the FAQ published by the lovely folks over at PokerGym that are official rulings, and talking you lovely ladies and gentlemen through them. But I only started doing that with Cosmic Eclipse. For a long time, it was, shall we say, a gap in the content produced on this channel. So I want to go back a little bit now. I want to right some wrongs, and I want to talk about the FAQ from Unified Minds. These are still official rulings, they are still important rulings, and they are still ones that you absolutely need to know. And given that a lot of people don't look at the FAQs, I think we should probably have a gander. So let's start off with WEATRAN-GX and its Burning Road ability. Now, WEATRAN-GX's ability says that when you put it from the bench into the active, you may move as much fire energy as you like from your other Pokemon to it. So what happens if it comes active not because of retreating or switching or something like that, but because of an attack? Let's say Archeops's U-turn attack. Fine. Not a problem at all. The Archeops from Unified Minds, they're both from Unified Minds, does have U-turn, 40 damage, switch to one of your bench. As long as Heatran becomes active through any means, you get to move the energy. Cool. How about AMOONGUS's Bursting Spores ability? This is the one whereby whenever you play a Pokemon with the attack Spore, from your hand, you may leave your opponent's active Pokemon asleep and poisoned. Well, what happens if I evolve into Breloom? I'm not playing it onto the bench, I'm playing it to evolve one of my other Pokemon. And the answer is no, that totally counts. You get the sleep, you get the poison. The reason very simply is that you are still playing it from your hand, therefore it totally counts. How about MAWILE's Captivating Wink? This, of course, being MAWILE-GX's Captivating Wink. When you play this card from your hand onto your bench during your turn, you may have your opponent reveal their hand, and you can put any number of basic Pokemon you find there onto their bench. What if they've got more than 5 bench Pokemon? Well, no. Your opponent is only allowed to have 5 bench Pokemon. If you tried to bench your own Pokemon with 5 on the bench, it wouldn't work. If you try and bench your opponent's Pokemon with 5 on the bench, it doesn't work. So if they've got 4 Pokemon on the bench, you can put 1 down. 3, that you can put 2 down. 0, you can put 0 down, etc. It is public knowledge that the bench is full, so you can't play the card. Okay. What if we use Steelix's Gigaton Shake, which is a very unique attack, which means that my Pokemon cannot attack during my next turn, even Pokemon that come into play on that turn? Well, what if I use Steelix's Gigaton Shake, and then my opponent uses Mawile to bench my Pokemon for me? They weren't in play when Steelix attacked. I'm not putting them into play on my next turn, so surely I can attack with them. Nope. Sorry. How about Aegislash's Durable Blade ability? If this Pokemon is knocked out by damage from an opponent's attack, put it into your hand instead of the discard pile, but discard all cards attached to it. Do I get to put the Doublade and or the Honedge cards into my hand, or do they have to go to the discard pile? And the answer is you put the Pokemon into your hand, pre-evolutions count as the Pokemon. It would have to specifically say, put the higher stage evolution of this Pokemon into your hand, or something along those lines. Putting the Pokemon into your hand does include any pre-evolutions. You lose the energy, you lose the tools, etc., but you still get the Aegislash. Snack Search. Snack Search is MUNCHLAX's ability, and MUNCHLAX has seen a little bit of play running around here. It is the ability whereby, and it ends your turn whether you flip heads or tails. But you flip a coin, and if heads, you put a card from your discard pile on top of your deck. But as I said, your turn ends whether you flip heads or not. So MUNCHLAX's Snack Search. If you flip tails, is my turn still over? Yes. Even if you don't flip heads, the ability is still considered used. The argument essentially is that because I flip tails, I haven't actually used the ability, but yes, you have. Confirmation on that. LATIOS-GX is clear vision. We've all probably used this at one point or had it used against us. It is the wonderful ability, the GX, whereby for one psychic energy, for the rest of the game, your opponent can't use any GX attacks. So you use your GX attack to stop your opponent using a GX attack. If my opponent has used LATIOS-GX's clear vision, can I use a GX attack that ignores any effects? And the answer is no. Before you even get to use a GX attack, you get stopped using it. Now, as a side note here, there aren't seemingly any Pokemon actually out there that ignore all effects. They all at the moment ignore, and we've seen all the GXs we're going to see, all effects on the defending Pokemon, and LATIOS-GX isn't an attack on the defending Pokemon. So, Alolan Persian GX, Flygon GX would just be a couple of examples of Pokemon that can go through any of those effects. But unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, if Latios has used a GX attack, you never actually get to use it. Feel free to be terribly upset about that. GG the End is the GX attack from Garchomp and Giratina. The main version of the attack says you can discard one of your opponent's Pokemon and all cards attached to it. But if you've got 3 extra fighting energy on there, you may discard 2 of your opponent's Pokemon instead. Question is, can you use this to get rid of all of your opponent's remaining Pokemon and therefore win the game because they have no Pokemon? The answer is yes. If you use the regular version of the attack when they have 1 Pokemon in play, or the extra energy version of the attack when they have 2 Pokemon in play, you can get rid of them and win the game there and then. Cool. So this Gigaton Shake on Steelix, we mentioned it earlier, it does 220 damage, which is gigantic, but during your next turn, your Pokemon cannot attack even if they came into play this turn. Well, what would happen if I played a Chandelure? Would I then be able to go ahead and attack even though I'm not supposed to be able to? Now, Chandelure is a supporter card that removes all effects on you and each of your Pokemon. And the answer is yes. Yes, you totally would. It removes effects on you and your Pokemon. And there is an effect on your Pokemon that stops them attacking. So if you get rid of that effect, you can go ahead and attack straight away. Steelix Chandelure, anyone? Naganadel-GX's Injection-GX. This is the one that for a single lightning energy lets you grab a card from your opponent's discard pile and add it to their face down prizes. Are you then allowed to mix up your opponent's prize cards so they don't know which card has actually been added and which ones were there originally? No, you may not. You must keep the order of the prize cards as they were before, and yes, that means that the one you've added will be identifiable. What if I use this during a tiebreaker game? Does that mean I win? Yes. During a tiebreaker game, we are looking between turns to see if anybody has fewer prize cards remaining than their opponent. If I use Naganadel-GX's Injection-GX, at the end of the turn I take a look and my opponent has 7 prizes remaining, 2 if it's sudden death. I have 6 prize cards remaining, 1 if it's sudden death. And that means that I've won the game because I have fewer prize cards remaining than my opponent. Well, that sounds like fun. How about Oranguru? Now, this is one of the lesser played Oranguru, but it's got Sage's Riddle. Put a Pokemon from your hand face down in front of you. Your opponent guesses the type of that Pokemon and then you reveal it. If they were right, they draw 4 cards. If they were wrong, you draw 4 cards. If I put down a Pokemon with more than one type, does the opponent have to guess both of its types? Nope. They only have to guess one type. So don't put down a Pokemon with 2 types. think something like Volcanion if you're playing in Expanded. It would be a silly thing to do. Chandelure's Spirit Burner. Now, I'm a huge fan of Chandelure. Anyone who's been following this for a while should know. And this is the amazing Chandelure that for 1 fire energy does 10 damage. You discard the top 5 cards of your deck. You do 60 more for each Pokemon discarded, but any fire Pokemon get put straight onto your bench. Okay. Can I play any discarded Stage 1 or Stage 2 Pokemon directly onto my bench? Yes, but not a Prism Star Pokemon. Now, we all know that the ruling was that for the Chandelure. That's how Chandelure decks have been using stuff like Incineroar. But you would not be able to use this for something like a Victini Prism Star, because Victini Prism Star gets discarded, but then it goes straight to the Lost Zone. And then when you go, oh, I've discarded it, now do I want to put it onto my bench? The option is no longer there. Victini Prism Star has already gone. It's already in the Lost Zone. How about Frostlass's Spiteful Sigh? This is the really good attack and the reason why Frostlass has seen so much play. 1 water energy and you do 20 damage, putting up to 7 damage counters on this Pokemon. And then you do 20 damage for each damage counter you put on in this way. What if you put more damage counters on than Frostlass has remaining? So let's say you use this to put 7 damage counters on. Next turn you've only got 10 HP remaining. Can you put 7 damage counters on again? Yes. You'll be knocked out when you make the attack, don't get me wrong. But you still will. You'll still get to do the attack. And I knew this was going to be the ruling because this actually came around with Mamoswine. I love Mamoswine. Again, I mean, if you look in the bottom left-hand corner, it's literally, it's right there. There is a Mamoswine right there. And we're talking about the Mamoswine from Crimson Invasion. Same deal. You put damage counters on it. Even if that would knock it out, you're fine. I mean, you'll lose the Pokemon, right? The Pokemon will get knocked out, but that doesn't mean that you're not allowed to use the attack. If you use Spiteful Sigh to put enough damage counters on Frostlass so it has less than 40 HP, what happens in terms of Blizzard Town? Now, Blizzard Town is that really nice stadium that says that Pokemon with 40 or less HP are not allowed to attack. The answer is you check Frostlass's HP. Oh, it's got 80 HP. You use the attack. You've then got less than 40 HP, but you've already checked. Now, next turn, if you've only got 10 HP remaining, Blizzard Town will stop you. Blaine's Quiz Show. This is the one that actually ended up getting banned at Worlds because of the different attack names causing a bit too much confusion, which is still something I find endlessly amusing. Blaine's Quiz Show. You put a Pokemon from your hand face down in front of you. You tell your opponent the name of an attack. Your opponent guesses the name of the Pokemon. If they get it right, they draw 4 cards. If they get it wrong, you draw 4 cards. The problem was that with all of... I'll pop a link to the video of this in the description. There were too many Pokemon whose attack names got translated differently in different languages, especially European languages, that it would just cause too much confusion. Can you play it and put down Munchlax? Bearing in mind Munchlax doesn't have an attack, and therefore they won't possibly be able to name an attack. No. Obviously not. It would be amazing, but no. Blues Tactics. Blues Tactics, lovely little supporter card here. It basically says that at the end of your turn, you draw until you've got 8 cards in hand. Can I play it if I've got more than 8 cards in my hand? And the answer is yes, because even though you might have more than 8 when you play it, you might play it when you've got, say, 8 cards in hand, but then you've only got 7. And then maybe you play a Pokemon and an energy, and then you're down to 5, etc. We don't know that you're going to have 8 or more cards at the end of the turn when you play it, at least not all the time, so you can play it even if you've got more than 8 cards at the time. Hapu. What happens if I play Hapu with fewer than 6 cards left in my deck. Now, as a little bit of a reminder, Hapu is a very aggressive supporter card. You look at the top 6 cards of your deck, you put 2 in your hand and discard the other cards. Yeah, go for it. Now, the only real exception here is if you've only got 1 card in your deck, you would have to put that in your hand. Outside of that, you're fine. If you've got 1 card, you put it in your hand. 2 cards, you put them in your hand. 3 cards, you pick 2 of the 3. 4, you pick 2 of the 4. 5, you pick 2 of the 5. Don't need 6 cards in hand to actually use it. And finally, Recycle Energy. That was the one that got reprinted in Unified Minds after having not been seen since Neo Genesis. And if it is discarded from play, it goes straight back to your hand instead of going to the discard pile. What if it's discarded by Giratina's Dimension Breach ability? This is the Giratina that came out in Unified Minds, whereby when you play it from your hand, you get to discard a special energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. Yeah, that's fine. It's being discarded from play. Recycle Energy goes back to your hand. And there's also confirmation that if you use it to pay a retreat cost, it goes back to your hand. If the Pokemon gets knocked out, it goes back to your hand. It's not perfect. Something like Faber, for instance, which takes a special energy and puts it into the Lost Zone, it would go to the Lost Zone because it doesn't get discarded. It goes to the Lost Zone. And similarly, if you discarded it from your hand while playing a card, let's say Mysterious Treasure, it's not being discarded from play, it's being discarded from your hand, and that also would not work. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Those are the official rulings from Unified Minds. Slightly late, but it's making me a little bit sad that I wasn't doing these at the time. So I figured it was time that we had a little bit of a catch-up. But I do want some feedback from you guys. Do you want more of these? We're not going to go any further back than Team Up. I think that would probably... Well, I suppose we could go back to Ultra Prism if we really wanted to. But I certainly would like to do Team Up and Unbroken Bonds if these are the kind of videos you want. They are official rulings. They are important. You do need to know about them. I apologise it took me so long to start doing these videos. I should have known earlier. And there is slight embarrassment on my part that I did not. And also, right, just in this one video, not being able to use MUNCHLAX for BLAINE'S quiz is a pretty important thing. Otherwise, it would actually be a way, way better card. And Chandelure could now make Steelix an awful lot better. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to know what you think of all of these rulings. Did any of them surprise you? Did any of them seem particularly weird? Did you just know all of them anyway? Let me know in the comment section. And please, especially, let me know if you want me to do a couple of other sets from slightly further away. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays, where you can find out about a whole bunch of games that don't have Pokemon in, but we love them nonetheless. And by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.